they have a new pope. And, this poem kind of touches on the subject of the new pope. It's called Shades of Yellow. The urinal.
We were just talking about this.
At this Chinese restaurant is filled with ice cubes. When I finish, I realize I have saturated the cubes with the same daffodil-like shades of the Vatican City flag. I hope God doesn't take a jaundiced view of my comparisons here. He knows my aesthetic quest to try and see the beauty in everything. I imagine the Pope coming into the restroom, now to wash his hands. He takes a quick look at the frosty lemon froth in the urine. And with a corn silk-like voice of compassion, says to me, anything you need to confess while I'm here. I'm not Catholic, he says. I say. It doesn't matter, he says. We go into the side-by-side stalls. And I tell him, when I was 16, I peeked into Irene Bernstein's bedroom window and discovered she was looking through a pair of binoculars back at me. You are forgiven, he says. What about Irene? I ask. I'm sure if she repented, God has forgiven her too, he replies. I tell him that I once touched myself in an inappropriate place, in the shower at the Woodland Hotel in New York City. A riff for that?
That was your
Forgiven, he says. Anything else? He says. He asks. I realize that not many people have opportunities for a meeting with the Pope in a Chinese restaurant. But I can't think of anything else to confess. It's moments like this that one wishes they were a serial killer, heroin dealer, liar, kidnapper, forgery expert, real estate scam artist, shoplifter at a dollar store, strep throat germ spreader, accessory to a crime, a three-piece suit, money launderer with a history of white-collar crime, or a pyramid scam artist with Cairo connections. But I confess that I live a very boring life and don't take a lot of risks. And I'm envious of others who do, which I realize might really be my biggest sin. You're forgiven, he says. Real life begins when we get to heaven, he adds. We both realize a third man in his 50s has quietly entered the restaurant and has heard most of our conversation. I wonder what this person might be thinking after listening to one man confessing his sins to another man in a lavatory stall. Especially when one of those men is wearing a robe and a jeweled tiara. The Pope and I exit our makeshift confessional booths. The man is already zipped up, but his eyes remain transfixed at the now amber-colored ice cubes and says, "It's a little bit like the flag of New Mexico." The Pope says to him, "While I'm here, is there anything you need to confess?" "Yes," he says. "But my poo-poo platter is getting cold. And it would be a sin to waste food when so many people on the planet don't have enough to eat." "Go in peace," the Pope says. I return to my table and discover my wife has started to eat without me. I couldn't wait. What took you so long? I look deep into her eyes and say, "Do you realize Chinese mustard has the same hue of yellow as the flag of Spain?" "Yes," she says. "And I love you." "And I love you too," I reply. With all due respect to the Pope, maybe he wasn't altogether right about real life beginning when we